If the factory water pump is on its way out in your 96 to 01 GT or Cobra or your 2005 to 2010 3-valve GT, then you might want to consider going with an upgrade like the high flow performance option from Edelbrock. Now this reverse flow pump will feature the long style body or shaft and will feature the upgraded cast impeller to improve your flow and performance for just south of $200. The site calls this job 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and a few hours from start to finish to get everything swapped out. So we all know the water pump is a vital component of your engine, right? Keeping the coolant flowing at all times and preventing any possible overheating. Now, a failing or failed pump can be diagnosed in a few different ways. Now, if it hasn't already stopped working, you might have noticed some coolant around the weep hole or maybe on your driveway, or maybe there is some play with the pulley itself on your water pump. Either way, if you've diagnosed a failing water pump, it's time to look into a replacement. Now, you have a couple of different options when looking for a replacement. First and foremost, you can go with an OE style water pump, which will not really offer much in the way of an upgrade, but will ultimately be your most affordable route. In fact, you can find a factory style replacement from OPR here on the site for right around $50. Your next option would be to go with a high flow option like this Edelbrock here, which is going to cost you more than a factory replacement, but due to the improved impeller design and components, you're also going to be increasing your cooling capabilities and flow, but at the same time also reducing the parasitic drag required to operate the pump itself. Last but not least, you have the most expensive option, and that is going electric. Electric water pumps are generally preferred by the hardcore racers out there as there is no parasitic drag whatsoever, so you're going to be getting the biggest performance returns, but at the cost of a much higher price tag. So now that you know what your options are, let's touch a little bit more on the Edelbrock here. And again, this is going to be a high performance or high flow option that will outperform a stock water pump in regards to flow, thanks to the improved impeller design here on the back. Now these guys should appeal to just about anyone out there, whether you're stock or heavily modified, and if you're willing to pay the extra money for the increased capability. Now this particular Edelbrock also features what is referred to as a long style pump or shaft, and therefore will physically stick out further from the block compared to the shorter style. Now somewhere in 2001, Ford changed the design from the long to the short style water pump, so if you have a 2001, the best way to figure out what is under the hood is to measure the distance from the block to the hub. Long style pumps will measure roughly 3.5 inches, while the shorter style pumps will be roughly 2.5 inches from the block to the hub. So just make sure you're ordering the correct water pump for your ride if you have a 2001. Also worth mentioning the fact that this is compatible with aftermarket underdriven pulleys or underdrive pulleys and is overall very highly rated here on the site. So feel free to read up on some of those reviews before pulling the trigger. Now, as far as your installation is concerned, well, again, the site does call this a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and roughly a few hours from start to finish to remove that stocker and get the new Edelbrock in place. The pump does not include a new gasket, so just be sure to grab one of those before making the swap, along with making sure to have some fresh coolant to top off after the job. So in closing, if you're looking to keep your stock or heavily modified SN95 or 3-valve S197 a little bit cooler, then be sure to check out the high flow performance water pump from Edelbrock right here at AmericanMuscle.com.